News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, with all this bad PR in the Dominican Republic, somebody's doing something about it a little bit. CNN reports that the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino is removing liquor dispensers from guest room mini bars at its resort in the Dominican Republic. Hotel spokespeople say the decision to remove these was made independently and not as a result of the two deaths that happened at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Have we not heard about this previously? Dispensers?
Yes, I was telling you that I was telling everyone that instead of the mini traveler bottles, they have bottles that are like 750s that you hit off of.
Aha.
Like a little spigot.
It seemed a little confusing. Like I saw a news story where you open the mini thing, you see all the bottles sort of capsized on the thing, and then you can hit them. Now, I don't know how you regulate.
I was going to say that my theory last week or the last show was that they were filling that with like ethanol alcohol or whatever like that. They're filling with poison.
Either way, the concept of the mini bottles of Smirnoff and the mini Jaeger bottles that are throughout the land, and I think we can sign off on, and you can make a profit on them because people will pay $8 for a little bottle of vermouth, and they won't. Obviously, there's a high markup on it. Why wouldn't you just do that with everything?
Well, at least 10 American tourists have died during or after stays in the Dominican Republic over the past year, according to the information by the State Department. But officials in the Dominican Republic and the United States have not said the deaths are connected. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department officially said Friday there has not been an unusual spike in reported deaths from the Dominican Republic. And that's true. It is. They haven't, as far as travel warnings go, that kind of thing.
Is it that beautiful of a kind? I've never heard of anybody going there unless you're like scouting for the Yankees.
All
like,
the ball
why
players
would you
come
go
here.
to the like? I've never heard anybody going there.
Are we out of Hawaiian Islands?
Well, New Yorkers love the Dominican and Puerto Rico because it's their Hawaii. It's closer.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to sound cruel, but anyone who goes to the Dominican Republic to party for a week, we're not going to miss them if they don't come back. It's not like who's going to finish building the power plant? It's not that, right?
Probably.
Chick works at a nail salon. Yeah. The guy's on disability.
Hey, she owns the nail salon.
The point is it's not like, this nation's going to grind to a halt. There'll be no more commercial aircraft manufacturing done in this in this nation anymore.
You take a week off to go to Hard Rock Punta Cana?
I just feel like these are pretty hard partying folks who,
Damn the 1%. They're all going there.
Well, and remember there was that Parrot Head convention for the Jimmy Buffett fans.
Kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So two comics who are not at Clusterfest, but they are going on the road together. Roseanne Barr and Andrew Dice Clay. They are hitting the road. Mr. and Mrs. America.
Here's your next documentary, Steve.
Seriously.
Love is found.
Mr. and Mrs. America tour. It was inspired by the national obsession with political discourse and the policing of comedians' language. He was banned from MTV for life back in the day. I think that was during a set he did at the 1989 MTV Awards. It was pretty graphic. And Roseanne was more recently fired by ABC for comments about Valerie Jarrett. And regarding Roseanne, Clay told Fox News, quote, "I've known her since we were kids. When people asked about what she said, I say she's a comic. We got to stop policing comedians. This is America." And he added, "America really needs to lighten up and not worry about the words comedians use because it's all they have." Tickets go on sale next week.
Well, this is it. I mean, we're creating this. The safe spaces are creating the octagons. Right. Now it's on. We are going to. I was thinking. I was just talking about this, and I've talked to you guys about like old race cars and vintage and how expensive everything's getting. Just think about all the electric cars, all of the zero emission, this and that, all the self-driving, all the Ubers, nothing's a standard shift anymore. The segment of the collector car market that's gotten the most expensive are the ones that shoot fire out of the exhaust pipe. Like they shoot. My race cars, fire shoots out. They're all stick shift. They're louder than shit, and there's nothing self-driving about them. They're the opposite of every direction we're going, they're the opposite. Just like grunge is the opposite of hair bands, we go to opposite land. Eventually, we get a little saturated, and then we want whatever is the opposite.
Right.
And I think we're getting so politically correct, and as we talked about with Biden and all, calling everyone a racist and all that kind of stuff,
right.
It is going to create a huge market for all these comedians who are going to go, F it, I'll just push back against it. They're right. Cash in.
Yeah, I do wonder how well that will sell. It'd be great if they were really going for it, you know?
I think it's going to be a Donald Trump type situation. I think,
or people who are big fans, of them, especially Dice Clay in the late 80s.
I think there's good. I think for every one person that's sort of reading Lena Dunham's column in HuffPo, there's 20 people that are like, fuck this. Mm-hmm. And they will support it. I bet it's going to be a big tour.
Yeah.
That tour will kill in the Midwest, in the Bible Belt, in Texas, but it'll get vilified on the coasts, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. But I don't know, do we even need to critique stand-ups? Like, they're telling jokes, people.
Yeah.
Can we leave that alone?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like they can say what they want because that's what they do, and then people will sort of vote with their wallets. If they don't like what the people are saying or they disagree with it, then they'll stop buying tickets.
I am curious region-wise when you said that, because I'm thinking Dice is, he's a Bridge and Tunnel, Jersey, New York guy, and does his old school nursery rhymes. I've met him. Super nice. I'm sure everyone here has met him. Very, very nice guy. But I don't know. I wonder how that comedy's received, or if that's what he's even doing anymore in 2019.
Well, aren't we also sophisticated enough to know that he's an actor?
Right.
He's
a great actor. If you saw Star is Born.
Yeah, speaking of which, he was excellent in A Star is Born, and was
good.
Somehow
He's good Woody Allen movies.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good actor, and he's doing this shtick, and it's funny, and some people like it, and Roseanne's probably got a lot of that in her too, and so people can go out.
I think people go just in spite of them being
pre-backlash.
Yeah. Part of the reason maybe why Trump was elected, right? I mean, there was
That's
people
what I'm saying.
disgusted, and it's like, all right, well, I'm going to push back and show you where how I feel with how I spend my money, and I think that I think it'll be refreshing, to be honest with you, that tour.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Brian, not sure if you're aware of this, but you might be separated with a little bit more of your money this week. Avengers Endgame still in theaters.
I did hear about this.
But getting a re-release. This week, on Friday, an extended version of the blockbuster will contain extra footage.
It was 3 hours and 1 minute.
Oh, and wait till I tell you what the extended footage is, and a tribute to the late Stan Lee. Producer Kevin Figge told Screen Rant, quote,
I think it's Feig.
I have it here pronounced Figgy.
Oh, I could be completely wrong.
I think it's Phage.
Phage. It is spelled like beige.
Yes.
You're right.
I don't know.
He told Screen Rant, quote, not an extended cut, but there will be a version going into theaters with a bit of a marketing push.
It will be
a few
a cut
things.
that's extended.
Yep. At the end of the movie, if you stay and watch the movie after the credits, there'll be a deleted scene, a little tribute, a few surprises.
That's all that's different?
That's it.
I would like to talk to the producers of this Endgame and go, you know how the American Indians used every part of the buffalo?
Buried the eyeballs.
But they didn't fuck the buffalo. They just fucking used the parts, okay? What we're doing here is now fucking a buffalo.
Now you're getting greedy.
Let's just use the buffalo and eat the meat and use the pelt. We don't need to fuck the buffalo. That's
I already
what we're
bought the
doing
Avengers
here.
can opener. We've gone as far as we can, guys.
Steve,
We're
did you
now
see
into
Endgame?
buffalo fucking territory.
It was quite good.
3 times.
Okay, I was going to say, I meant to see it again. Maybe
Would you
I'll
like to see it a fourth?
Maybe I'll see it again now.
Well, it seems to be an attempt by Disney to make the movie the highest grossing film of all time, to get people back in there. Endgame's initial theatrical run fell a little bit short of Avatar, and with this re-release, it's bound to top it.
I don't know. Like, the re-release, I look at it as we don't have the tallest building in the world, but we're going to put a tower so dirigibles can moor to the top, and then the people can come down the tower, and that extra 81 feet has now made us, and it's like, I
need brick and mortar.
You need to have a run and then tally up your receipts.
Yeah.
You don't get to then just come out again and get you past the finish line, unless Avatar did that. But I would argue,
I don't think so.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like the asterisk with the Roger Maris, Babe Ruth. You get an asterisk next to it if you do the re-release.
Right. That's great. Totally. So you've heard of thieves breaking into homes, celebrity homes, but this time a thief tried to steal the actual home. That's exactly what happened to Halle Berry. So according to TMZ, this 59-year-old dude, Ronald Griffin, tried not once but twice to actually take possession of her home. So in January, Griffin allegedly messed around with her locks but ran off when approached by a gardener. He came back in March with a locksmith and a bogus deed claiming he was the new owner. This time he managed to change one of the locks. When confronted by Halle's employees, he called the police and claimed they were trespassers. But cops saw through the
Called their
scheme,
bluff.
charged him with fraudulently changing the title. TMZ says the would-be house thief didn't even know it was Halle's place. He feels very strongly that this is his home.
The closest I've ever come to that is I filled out a change of address form at the post office for Spearmint Rhino in Vegas. That's the closest I've ever come to feeling like I have another home.
Another residence.
I was thinking about all the homeless and all this thing and all this fakakta, like cost of living and apartments or whatever, these people that can't pay their rent, they could put out in the street. And then I thought, in Los Angeles, if you can't pay your rent, you have the law on your side. Like, you can stay in that apartment for another year without paying the rent.
It's hard to evict someone.
Yeah, it's not like, well, you're late in April and you're out in May. No. You have a lot of the laws on your side. So this notion of, well, the woman lost her job, got a month behind on the rent, and now her and her family are out in the street, it's not correct, because in L.A. especially, and probably in California, they're very lenient with the renters and pretty tough on the landlords. So I've heard I've talked to many people that had apartment buildings or whatever. It's like, person's been in the unit, hasn't paid rent in 9 months. Why don't you evict them? I can't. I can't get rid of them.
Wow.
So it's kind of poking holes in the notion of you lost your job at the Costco and now you're out in the street. You can pretty much squat a place and get a good 6. I'd say anyone who got an apartment in Los Angeles, you would be hard-pressed to get out of there before 6 months if you stopped paying rent. That would be like the early over-under on pushing you out of there. If you went, I know my rights, I'm not going anywhere.
Right. Wow.
But don't the cops show up? Don't the cops physically remove you?
No, I don't.
I remember doing
I don't know.
housing.
You can figure it out. Well, I think if you live in Flint, Michigan, and you're in a different jurisdiction, but everyone I know who's had this. By the way, there's also nothing you can do if, I've had a warehouse. I rented out to a guy. He didn't want to pay rent, and there's nothing. You can't. He's not on the hook for it.
And Steve, I think what you're talking about is when the cops showed up during the housing crisis to evict people from their homes for not paying their mortgages. Because when it's the banks, the laws are very much in their favor.
Swiftly.
But when you're renting, it's very much in the renter's
tenants'
favor.
rights.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of tenants' rights. All right, sorry, go ahead.
So some strange new research out of Australia is making smartphone users sit up a little straighter, literally. A new study published in a science journal, and I think we have a picture, suggests that excessive smartphone use, particularly among young people, is causing horn-like structures to form on their skulls. Not big. We don't have horns, but it is a bone spur. It's 400 people between the ages of 18 and 86 were found to have these bone spurs protruding from the back of their skulls, believed to be from poor posture associated with just looking down all day, which
That'll
also
cause that?
Yeah, well, apparently it puts a ton of stress on your neck.
But isn't
now
this
they're
being
seeing bone
counteracted though by everyone being fat and doing the selfies where they hold the camera over their head? Don't we spend half the day staring down the screen, the other half staring up at selfie?
You don't FaceTime like this ever.
Yeah, everyone's like, because I feel like we're either looking down or we're looking up. We're not really looking across anymore.
That's a good point.
So when you go into T-Mobile or something, if you have a bone spurt, they're like, I think you need to upgrade your plan.
Right.
A lighter phone.
Max, yeah.
Yeah. The bone spurs don't cause any pain. They don't require any treatment, apparently. But if they grow to be larger, they could potentially cause some problems. Not everyone is convinced, though, that these small bone spurs are even caused by smartphone use. Anthropologists insist it's just a normal biological change that happens over generations. Would love to get Dr. Drew's thoughts on that, though, because now that we are always sort of tilted at a 45-degree angle, it's going to change something.
Yeah, well, there's no way we can just start doing a ton of anything and not have it have some repercussions. Like, we can't go from this thing didn't exist and wasn't invented to now your average kid does it 11 hours a day, whatever it is, and not have it affect us in some way. We need to kind of, it's an interesting thing. So when I was talking to the AI expert, he was telling me, Louis Rosenberg, I was saying, well, but we've always evolved, and we've always gone from the farm, and then we got into the factory, and then X amount of people used to work in the farm, and then it got replaced by a piece of equipment made by John Deere, and then those people are out, but those people then became school teachers or lawyers or something like that. And he was like, yeah. And so it seems like, look, we've always had technology. Technology's always moved along, and the automobile replaced the car, and the guys who shoed horses, they found a job working at the GM factory making tires, and so it's always been this way. And he said, yes, but never this fast. It's fast now, right. And so we can do something like we could take, if you were a long haul truck driver now, and we're going to phase you out over the next 35 years, you could deal with that. If we're going to phase you out over the next 2 years, that's too fast.
There's not enough transition time.
Right. So, and it made me realize, oh, that's right. The computer is making it fast. It's happening fast. Everything is fast. So we are geared to go from point A to point Z to sort of leisurely pace generationally and throughout time. Right. So literally evolving. We didn't sign up for this speed this fast.
Right.
And that's what's happening, minus the moving parts, minus the, everyone went down to the river and washed their clothes on rocks. And then some people got washing machines, but they didn't get dryers, so they had to hang the stuff out on the thing. And it took a long time before the stack washer dryer was in everyone's whatever. Right. This is happening. Boom.
But with everything becoming autonomous, they're saying the cars are going to be autonomous, truck drivers are going to be autonomous, hauling is going to be trains, planes. They're saying autonomous planes in 20 years. So, I mean, that is a huge sect of people that are going to be out of work. So you do wonder if like universal basic income is going to start implementing in a society or whatever, because there's going to be a ton of people that work in the service industry like that are out of business. I don't know what it's going to come down to, but yeah, it sounds like all those things are happening.
Well, and to that point, it was funny. Maybe they're in L.A., but I've never seen it. It was very San Francisco. We passed two, and now San Francisco's not very big. I was just there over the weekend. Two places that were like coding camp for kids. So you drop your little one off, and they learn how to code.
I saw one of those in L.A., and it didn't blow my mind. I was like, oh, that's here now.
Like, of course it is. Yeah.
Definitely. That is the camp, like when they play the softball games, you can just go ahead and circle that victory. The coding camp.
You guys playing this week.
Get him a flute.
Now the guys are in like, I don't know, space camp or rock climbing camp or something like that. That's not a guaranteed victory.
Yeah,
but
you have to work for it.
Coding camp, you're probably going to win that game.
If you're 8 and you part your hair in the middle, you can't throw a spiral foot. Yeah. So it's going to happen fast. We don't know what the future will hold. Evidently, the creative jobs will be sort of the last to go, but the AI, they're going to replace everybody. And we always think of it as robots, factory floor. Like in the past, every job that was replaced was a minimum wage job, like lowest of the low, whatever farming and toiling in the sun and picking grapes or berries or whatever. It's like, those guys got nothing. AI is going to replace high dollar people making real decisions.
Yeah.
Breaking through all those algorithms. I just hope when the machines rise, I'm nowhere near a dildo factory. Hello! Hello! You can't turn it off, people.
Well, you're going to have to move then.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of those coding camp kids and the wins you're going to take over them, a new study has found that kids are more likely to gain weight during the summer. It seems like, okay, who cares? But this is super new. Unlike in decades past, kids aren't running around outside all day in the summer. They're not eating, they're eating less fruits and vegetables. They're drinking more sugary drinks, more junk food, sitting on the couch, playing Fortnite. This is really the first time in our history that kids are gaining weight over summer and not losing weight with camp, with sports, with playing.
Speaking of that, and this is why I love the private sector.
Lose the weight, chubby.
I was, as we know, I was trying to get my license renewed a few weeks ago. We could find nothing in the L.A. County that could accommodate me. Matt was on hold for 2 hours. We're trying to get the DMV. Their online sign-up thing is all closed out, and blah, blah, blah. So no such luck. I was, speaking of kids getting fat, I took my daughter and her friends back from the beach, back from Malibu on Sunday. They, of course, wanted In-N-Out on the ride home. In-N-Out's always crowded on a Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
But they got the dude with the tablet, and he's running down the line, and he's splitting. There's 2 lines of cars coming off of Ventura Boulevard, and he's got that tablet, and he's getting your order when you're 6 cars back from the window. And I thought, that's what you do when you want to make money and you get paid every car that comes through here. So every hour, you want 41 cars coming through and not 9 cars coming through. And so what you do is you go, I'll give that dude $14 an hour. We'll get him a $900 device. We'll have him split the line, and that guy will earn us the equivalent to $150 an hour off of his, and we'll happily give him 14. Which obviously is exactly the opposite of the DMV, who doesn't give a fuck whether you come in or stay home or they're open or they accommodate you or anything. They're not incentivized. And this notion that, well, the DMV, that's stocked with evil people, and which is partially true, but we made them evil is what I'm saying, or lazy people.
Demotivated them.
Right. And In-N-Out Burger, there's a bunch of saints that are highly motivated. No, there isn't. There's a system. And the one system compels people to act a certain way, and the other system compels them to act another way. And this is the outcome of the system. So if whoever was running the burger, In-N-Out Burger, was involved with the DMV, then they would have a system, and that system would work.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not a fan of this, Bernie Sanders and this sort of notion of like, well, you give the DMV more money and then they fix the system. It's like, no, you don't give them more money. That just makes it worse or doesn't move the notion of, well, they just need more resources. No, they need a plan, not more money.
I was in Vegas about 2 weeks ago, and I was walking to the terminal, and I saw Bernie Sanders come out of the men's room, and he looked like he rocked a deuce. But I was like, no, I think he just always looks like he rocked a deuce. I think that's just his natural habitat. Yeah. That's just how he looks. He looks disheveled, sweaty, and
haggard.
He just wants to warn you, do not go in there.
Like he struggled with something recently.
Speaking of the DMV, I heard this on the way in here. I think all of our luck is about to change because I was just in the DMV, and I was there for 3 hours and 42 minutes and almost late to the show a couple weeks ago. And I said to them, I know there's a lot of problem with these real IDs, and I just did a story on it for the show that I work on. Are you sure you only need to see one proof of address? Yeah, we know what we're talking about. Screw you. Okay, great. Here it is. Well, of course, I got a letter in the mail saying they messed up and they needed more than one form of ID. And of course, it was a disaster. And on the way here, I saw this headline: California DMV to close offices statewide for half day to retrain employees on customer service. So
that'd be nice.
Because every time I go to the DMV, I always ask whoever's servicing me, can I get your home address? They ask why. I said, I want to know where to send the flowers and chocolates. You've been so kind to me.
Yes, the edible arrangement.
Yeah. I now, it's funny, I had to pull it out a few times because my license has expired. I'm traveling with my passport.
Yeah, you
so I
have
feel
to.
like an international jewel thief every time I go to Burbank Airport. But Matt has now set it up for me to get it when I'm in Monterey. So we'll
in
put
your
that on.
fire suit.
In my, oh yeah.
Right?
Come on.
Well, is there a rule that says you can't take your DMV picture in a racing suit?
No.
Not that I've ever seen.
It's going to be tough when you get pulled over for speeding, though, and you pull out you got a helmet under your arm.
Oh, I get it.
It's going to be weird, but I could Max Zapata.
It could be your burqa. You just flip that visor up,
right,
and you just have it right there.
Oh yeah, and I go like I'm culturally grandfathered in. My dad raced cars or something. I will wear the fire suit. I don't think. Can they stop you? They must have.
It's just a headshot.
Well, they'll get a little bit. They'll get a little collarbone.
Look at a little collar in there. All right.
Will there be a DMV in 15, 20 years, though? Will we even need it?
I'm afraid
with
so.
Autonomous vehicles? I don't know.
I hope not.
I like where your head's at.
But yeah, you're right. I don't know how it's going to work, and you're going to have a subscription to have a car, and the car's
Right.
going to pick you up. Just think about something like parking. Like, there's a rule which is if you need to have like something like 3 parking spots for every 1,000 square feet your business has or whatever.
Right.
So if you want 5,000 square feet, you need 15 parking spots or whatever it is. But now picture LAX, all that real estate in the middle just stacked 5 stories high, just cement for cars, just for parking.
Right.
Seems unnecessary, right? It doesn't seem like everyone should
Right.
just be taking a monorail into LAX and
What a
being
great
dropped
idea.
off
Yes.
somewhere. Does it seems so antiquated to have
Yeah.
all these cars
Yeah.
just packing in and the idea that if you go, okay, I'm going to build a football stadium, and they go, fine, you need 10 times as much acreage for the parking lot next to it. Seems weird, right?
Yes.
Shouldn't
Now it
everyone
does.
just be dropped? Or LA Coliseum, we're going to charge $150 to park on some poor guy's lawn. Like, shouldn't we all just be dropped off in front of everything?
I was just having this conversation this weekend with someone about how LAX is like the worst microcosm of LA because it's horrible. Everyone hates it, and of course all the improvements, all the innovation, everything is just cosmetic. And like the metro, the line that's supposed to get you that could pull right up and let you there, it lets you off like a mile and a half away, and you have to take a bus. It's the most inefficient. It's just like LA. It's the microcosm.
It was ranked the worst airport in the world.
It's horrible.
Well, the worst.
But how about
We're number
how about the weird signs of the weird murals, electronic murals, like inside of the actual terminal with a guy reclining on a bed saying like, I am suicide or whatever those stupid signs are.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck. It's the airport is the land of the meaningless sign, right? There's the business one on the jetway that's like, we're in the business of making business more like business. UBS business. Get it now. And there's not even a phone number.
Hashtag business.
What do I do? I don't know what to do with that sign. And then there's the suicide ones. Max, I've taken pictures of these. It's insane. You're just besieged with these pictures of people thinking about killing themselves. Let's talk about suicide.
Not at the airport.
Yeah. Why don't you put that in the fucking parking structure? Because I am thinking about jumping from the top. Who shall we talk to about suicide at the airport?
Let's talk.
By the way, I'm going to Maui for my anniversary. Should I bring this up with my kids? Or
No, that's Spirit Airlines' new slogan.
Spirit Airlines' new slogan is "Let's talk suicide."
Yes.
It's in their safety video.
They have pictures. There's other weird pictures of morose women lounging on a futon, feeling very unhappy. Everyone's going through something.
Yeah, that's the one.
There's her, the
What does it
woman
say?
of sort of color
You're
on
going-
a futon
Are
that
those flowers?
can't get up.
She's heartbroken.
It's your feelings are also your superpowers, and she is very sad.
She has flowers and a laptop on her bed.
Yeah.
It's like she's looking at her ex on his Facebook.
What's going
It
on
says-
at the airport?
It says
What-
you're doing good, baby, in the background.
Also, I don't know, a lot of folks coming in from Dallas. Do you think they're coming here to kill themselves? I mean, maybe they're coming here for their granddaughter's graduation from UCLA. You think they
Celebrating.
want to discuss suicide with her?
No.
How about don't drink the liquor in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or wherever?
Yeah.
I would-
Something useful.
I would argue that the airport is probably sort of put them up at the fucking DMV. The airport, people are generally in a good mood or taking care of
Excited.
business. It's not a suicide segment here.
No.
We're up out of our futon. We haven't locked ourselves in a room. We're going somewhere. We're going to Seattle for some business or to see a Phish concert or something.
You showed that at Carl's Jr. at 1 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Those are bad decisions.
Right.
That's right.
Those people need this.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of a Phish concert, I sent our own Mike Lynch a super insulting
Saw
tweet. I thought
What'd you
I'd
say?
share with you guys. Max a Pat will find it. First, I'll tell you about Tommy John Summers. It was so mean-spirited.
Yeah. It was clever, though. It was cleverly worded.
It was so mean-spirited that I hesitated before I hit send,
Ooh.
but I still had to hit send.
okay.
Because Mike knows. He knows I love him. All right. You have the tweet.
Yeah, so this is the setup. So Mike Lynch, huge Phish fan, Goes
Huge
on,
Phish fan.
In May, tweets out, as today's officially 40 days for my 40th Phish show at Fenway, I'm going to tweet my stub and a memory from each one.
Oof.
So every day he's just been tweeting his ticket stubs. And today he tweeted, while trying to find more Phish souvenirs for my self-indulgent 40-day tweet ticket stub storm, I stumbled across a couple Adam Carolla show mementos, and Adam just tweets back at him. I guess you can read it, Adam, if you want.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to follow fish with a PH, and he will squander his adult life.
Well done.
Because I'm a dick, right?
It's hurtful.
You had to push send.
I had to be a dick. I thought about
Was there
it.
hesitation before you hit tweet? Or you're like,
There was a moment because Mike is sensitive and he is a good guy and he isn't squandering his life. But I'm like, those are all reasons to do it. You know what I mean? He knows what I do.
He better.
He gets it.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, I have some sad news. Recently, reality star Beth Chapman, wife of Dwayne, of course, Dog Chapman, the bounty hunter, she is in a medically induced coma, and we have been hearing about a lot of these incidents this year. According to Hawaii News Now, she was admitted to ICU at the Queens Medical Center in Honolulu. She underwent a successful surgery for throat cancer in 2017 before doctors announced that her throat cancer had returned last year. She had an emergency surgery in November after a blockage appeared in her throat. In a tweet, Dog asked fans to please say your prayers for Beth. The Chapmans, of course, best known for their A&E show, Dog the Bounty Hunter, and she is in a coma.
Is that show still rolling?
It has various variations. There's, Dog and Beth do this, but they're all the same show, but they have different titles.
Is she a racist too?
Oh, come on.
I'm asking.
They
They have 12 kids, a couple adopted kids.
It seemed like they got a full crew. I was also trying to think of, we were talking earlier about the Avengers. Stan Lee got Me Too'd right before he died, right?
There was some hand on the back thing or something, wasn't there?
He
got Me Too'd, he got a good Me Too. And
I don't remember that.
Really?
All I remember is, and we didn't really talk about it, but his manager basically apparently wrung him dry and forced him to work like a workhorse before he died. That was the story all over TMZ.
Your earning years are drying up,
right,
Stan.
exactly. I don't remember this.
Stan Lee got a little Me Too flack. He got fragged, I think, with some Me Too action.
But in a George Bush kind of, a Copperfield kind of way?
This may have been a little more, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's not we don't have dimmer switches. We have toggle switches. So George Bush making his joke from a wheelchair is the same as Louis C.K. or the same as Bill Cosby or the same as anybody anymore. I don't know why. I feel like having a dimmer switch and having nuance is the best part about being a human being. If everything's just a toggle switch, either he did this or he didn't do it, and whatever he did, who cares? It's in or out.
Right.
Not good. Although our sexuality is and our gender's not binary
That's a dimmer switch.
anymore.
That's gone the
Now
other
we
way.
added a dimmer switch to our sexuality,
Yeah.
but not when it comes to the Me Too stuff. What was was there a Stan Lee story?
Yeah, so he died in 2018 November. In January, it's publicly reported that multiple nurses have accused Lee of sexually harassing them while they were caring for him. Another woman said that he masturbated in front of her and groped her.
Was he in the grips of dementia or something? I mean,
It's possible.
If he has nurses
I'm sure.
for him.
And then in April, a massage therapist were accusing him as well for...
He was getting massages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For doing
At
stuff.
that age, though, I worked in a nursing home when I was in high school. I mean, it is spring break before the pearly gates for old people. They're all just going bananas.
Like
They're
hedonism.
banging. Diapers are getting chucked. They're banging people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody's sweet old Nana right now is being bent over a walker with
All
tennis balls
right.
scraping across a cold tile floor. That's the reality of the world, guys.
Worst sandals commercial ever. Yeah. Well, it's also when people. It's like if you see a 4-year-old boy, he'll just have his hand down his pants, playing around with his ding-a-ling, and then you see a 90-year-old guy. It's the same thing.
It's
Like
the
when
same-
you
yeah.
kind of lose your faculties, your
Yeah.
hand just goes right to your dick. So there's that. But also, he wanted to fire that spidey web off a couple of times before he hit the grave.
My favorite playlist on my iTunes is my Me Too playlist. I got Michael Jackson, James Brown, and R. Kelly. So I just listen to those.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
That reminds me, there was one thing that Neil Brennan said during the roast battle. They were talking about Michael Jackson and if it's okay to listen to him. And he goes, well, all I know is this. Michael Jackson might have molested kids, but he definitely wrote Thriller.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
So were these after he died, his nurses were talking, or was this before
This is before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The same year.
Yeah.
Well, again,
I don't know. Again,
Crips of dementia.
my feeling is I don't know how much damage, like, if you're a Hell's Angel and you're 25,
Go on.
there's a lot of damage you can do.
Right.
I'm not sure how much damage you can do from a Craftmatic bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're on a bed
And
and that bed has a remote control attached to it so you can lean up so you can eat Jell-O. I don't know how much physical damage you can do to anyone else in the room. I mean, you can try.
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
there's Camira Calestro, I want to tell you something. Not again, Mr. Lee. Fool
Yeah.
me once.
Well, he's made a cameo in every Marvel movie, and now a hand select of a few Vietnamese nurses' nightmares.
Right.
I think he'll just
Yep.
pop in.
That's true.
All right, let's do one more.
All right. Well, hackers who took over the computer system in a small town in Florida will be given nearly $600,000 in Bitcoin as ransom, according to the New York Post.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. This comes after the Riviera Beach City Council voted unanimously to approve its insurance company to pay out 65 Bitcoin. That's an approximate value of $592,000. So it can get access back to all of its computers.
I'd like the mayor who's pushing for this, who's like, they have control over the grid. That's the electrical grid. They have control over the sewage system. They have control over the street lights. A couple of dick pics of mine. And did I mention the street lights and the
Wait,
chaos?
I feel like there was something else more specific to you.
Sewage. They can open the valves and release raw sewage
Yeah.
into Lake Huron.
Yeah,
But
something
Jeremy,
more-
about those dick pics.
Yeah, something more
Guys!
personal that just has to do with you in there.
Well, let's see. There's the sewage. I don't remember. I was thinking dick pic, but I.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. That
But
was the one.
No, I was thinking about my dick, so that's not bad. But I wasn't. But no, what did I say? Street lights,
Right, yes.
Sewage,
Yeah.
dick pics, school
That
system.
one. That one.
Huh?
That one.
Sewage,
No.
street lights.
Keep going.
Electrical grid.
No. It was something about your dick.
Glossy of my hog.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really just more specific
We need
to you.
to pay these people whatever they're asking for.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I mean, I feel like we can get by for a few more days with the grid the way it is.
Yeah. Look.
Why is there
this,
a kielbasa and a high heel shoe?
this
Guys!
school
Guys!
system and
Please!
me in a Klan hood with my dick out is not
What?
the grid, the sewage, the electrical grid. The people need to be paid, and they need to be paid in full, and they need to pay now.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about with the whole city council while we're here? You want to get out in front of maybe so we don't spend $500,000?
The grid.
Yeah.
They can open.
But we have generators.
We have raw sewage.
Yeah, but we have a few more
Untreated
days.
sewage.
We can get by the way
Pictures
it
of my
is.
dick.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
this is adjourned. Every minute we talk is a minute these people aren't being paid.
Right.
So let's get to it.
You might have a point because the cyber attack, which occurred a few weeks ago, froze up the city's entire computer network, leaving city officials without their email and their phone service. The city also had to go old school, writing checks for those with a direct deposit. The police had to use old-fashioned paper tickets for traffic infractions. It was chaos.
China. It's China.
It's China. Do you think this is just a dip in the water, just dipping a toe to see if we can take
this
over?
This is the future
This
war.
is
The
not
future
good.
Called the pink
war is
spoon.
all
It's just
gonna
a
be
little
cyber.
taste. It's a little pink spoon.
Oh, God.
It's going to get worse.
I always used to kind of, I don't know, I was so hardwired for like airplanes flying into buildings and terrorists blowing things up, fireballs and stuff.
Hijackings.
And everyone would talk about, they're them taking over the grid and taking over the power grid and doing blah, 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 blah. And I'd go like, okay, but that's not a fireball. And it's like,
Worse.
That's damage.
well, look, how are wars like won if you think about it? Like how do you beat an opponent if you're outgunned by their military times a million?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you look at our military and what our military is capable of with our equipment and our technology versus any other foe,
they'd be a fool to get in the ring with us.
In that way, yeah.
In that way. But they can certainly pull out their smartphone and cause havoc over here. And you'd be a fool to engage us in any conventional, quote unquote, way. You'd only be focusing on this. If you were a rogue nation, you'd be putting all your resources into engaging us this way versus let's get another missile.
Right.
Let's invest in building a tank.
Right.
Like you'll never beat us in that realm on that field, but you can do it this way.
Right. And there's already plenty of damage with, different countries calling saying, give us your social security number. You're about to be, the police are coming to your door.
The local cops are outside.
or a Nigerian prince. I mean, all this stuff does come from other places and it does damage.
Your heroes are not Dolph Lundgren. They're not Sly Stallone. It's that fat kid that couldn't hit the ball out of the infield that's going to code camp in San Francisco
That's
right
right.
now that's going to save the day.
That's right.
Right.
So salute GameStop as you drive past it today. Those guys
Yeah.
are our future saviors.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't open up any peanuts around him because he has allergies.
They'll go
my
into
friend.
anaphylactic shock.
All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Shang Wang.
That was the news with Gina Grad.